North Carolina in the national spotlight today as the U.S. Supreme Court considers its congressional district maps. At question, does it give one political party too much of an advantage, and is that constitutional? The answer could have major implications for the entire country. Let's go to our Washington Bureau reporter Kevin Frey, who was in the courtroom earlier today. Kevin, what were the arguments that were presented to those justices today?
Right, so to just lay things out, for the Republican state leaders, the lawyers basically argued in summary, one, you shouldn't really get involved in this. This is a congressional issue. This is a state legislative issue. If the Supreme Court walks into this, they are wading into political waters. It's going to tarnish their image. There's also the question of whether or not there's even a standard that they can measure this by. Is there a way that they can effectively do this? On the opposing side, the folks for the League of Women Voters, Common Cause, argued essentially, yes, we can create a standard. Here's a test where you can evaluate how much partisan gerrymandering is too much. And they also explained that basically they need the court to intervene. There's really no other remedies for these folks, that their voices can be heard. They say that the district lines as they are drawn right now are unconstitutional. One other reference here, we asked Allison Riggs, I said to her, I'm like, what is the implication here? If the court does not step in, what does that mean for the folks in North Carolina, across the country? Allison Riggs, of course, a lawyer on behalf of the League of Women Voters. Here's what she told me.
The danger of doing nothing is greenlighting what David Lewis said and did. And if you greenlight what David Lewis said and did, you're going to have legislatures trying to cloak themselves in partisan gerrymandering. So mask all kinds of illicit, improper behavior and just say, I said it was a partisan gerrymander, and the Supreme Court said it was okay when David Lewis said it and said it was constitutional, so it must be constitutional now.
She's, of course, there referring to David Lewis, the state lawmaker who notoriously, maybe is one word you could use, said that we're going to draw these districts so that it's a 10-3 split, favor the Republicans. Of course, Loretta spoke to him last night, and he kind of tried to clarify that a little bit, Tim.
Yeah, no question about that, and we'll see what happens moving forward. It can be dangerous, right, trying to read the tea leaves of what the justices were thinking, but did we get any sense of kind of based on their questions?
Well, I mean, to state kind of the obvious, the more liberal justices seemed much more compassionate when it comes to the case being presented by the League of Women Voters, Common Cause, basically saying that, yes, they seem to embrace the idea that this is not a constitutional move that they're making. The more conservative justices had a lot of concerns about how you can actually evaluate this. They don't want to go to what they described as a proportional system. There was also some question as to whether or not the Supreme Court could get involved at all, and really the justice that I was watching and most interested in hearing what he had to say today was Brett Kavanaugh, because he replaced Anthony Kennedy. He was long seen swing justice on this issue. So we heard from Brett Kavanaugh today, and his comments suggest that maybe he's not too inclined to get involved. He said, and this is kind of summarizing some of what he said, there is a fair amount of activity going on in the states on redistricting. Have we reached the moment where the other actors can't do it? Basically, he's referring to there how some states have adopted independent commissions to try to remove the politics from all of this. So he's saying, if the states are handling this, why should we, the federal bench, have to step in? If any indication there, that means he would likely side with the more conservative justices on this. That could make it difficult for the League of Women Voters if they want to get some sort of remedy coming from the Supreme Court. It's worth noting also that Allison Riggs basically argued today that, one, a lot of the states that have done these sort of independent commissions, they've had voter referendums, which is not something that can happen in North Carolina. I also asked Speaker Moore today when he was outside, he was here for the hearing. I said, would that be something you're interested in, having an independent commission? He basically said no, Tim.
All right, we will hear from attorney Allison Riggs. She's going to join me in studio tomorrow. In the meantime, our Washington Bureau reporter Kevin Frey, great work today as always, sir. Thank you.